There we go.
Okay, Kathy, you want us to say it again?
I make a motion to open the meeting of December 17th of the Langley Adams Library Board of Trustees.
Second? All those in favor? Laurel? Lindsay? Jay? Jan? Nancy?
I.
Kathy?
Yes,
Lee? Oh, there he is. Caitlin?
Yes.
Bob, yes. Okay, let's get started. Director's report right off the bat.
Yes, we switched this around because it's the budget and we have somebody who has to leave early, so I will quickly go through the regular things and then go over any budget stuff, and then we could talk about any questions. So the statistics pretty on par with how they usually are. Any questions about that?
I got a question. Canopy and US streams are down significantly. Do we?
I mean, to be fair, US Newsstream kind of like varies. Like if you saw the full year, you would see some are 12, some are 45, some are 25, and then it all adds up.
It is really down.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on that, and I'll keep, pushing it. Any other?
Another good thing for the news, community news show.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I can throw that on. Yeah, I'll throw it out on there. That's a good point. Standout programming. I added in music story time and baby story time. Well, music wasn't story time, it was music with Julie, but and those were well attended. And then Frank Mendoza, he tends to be a hit. So that of course had a lot of attendees. So then you can see the attendance. November was also a complicated month. We had a lot of closures, like because of holidays. Yeah, exactly. And the day after Thanksgiving, and then all sorts of stuff going on. So, I mean, it was just kind of one of those months, but it's still like decent. And then our warrants, 2519 was $2,839.59. 2521 was $1,764.75, and then the total was $4,604.34. Nothing under ARIS financial report state aid. I accidentally left that in because I was doing a little bit of this while I was sick. So furniture updates. I have updates from these updates. So you can see new flag has arrived. Steve has installed the bracket. Thank you to Steve. I have put the flag on the flagpole. I need to do a little bit of testing out with it. It's a much better size. It doesn't have the same holes, and then you hold it in with little clips and things like the other one. But it still slid onto the flagpole, and I think it should stay in place, but I need to see if I need to add anything in. Yeah. So I have to test that out, but it's ready to test out tomorrow. So we're on it. Charging stations, those have now been distributed amongst the library. I had Matt kind of set them up, and he got them going.
How many did we have?
We have 3. There's one in YA, one in Children's, and one in by the tables. Office chairs USA, the invoice is paid. Lounge chairs, those have actually arrived. So those are actually out there. So if anybody wants to see after the meeting, you can. They're all set up. So that's an update from there. square tables, those are arriving on Thursday. So, that's exciting. I also know that, the Friends of VZ, someone from the Friends of VZ called and they want to take the deaccessioned wooden furniture, so it's going to a good home. And
Which furniture, I'm sorry?
the wooden furniture, the wooden square tables and the chairs. So again, thank you to Steve. He's gonna bring it up there.
Where
Yeah,
are they going?
VZ Park. Yeah. So she said to drop them off in the Pingree room. That's what she's, I, I'm just thankful that they're taking them.
Does that take care of all of the, what's the term, disenfranchised? I don't think
The-
The exception.
The exception, yes, we still have like the couches that we're throwing away, but we're putting out the kind of the buzz, like, does anybody actually like want this and wanna like take on a project for yourself, you know? But otherwise, we'll just throw them away. A furniture, I actually tried to contact Kalog today. They emailed me just before this meeting, so I will get in touch with them.
Darcy, are you connected with Free?
Sort of, not officially. I know of it.
Because you could just put them on there.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have to put them in the dumpster.
yeah, that's a good idea.
If nobody expressed interest.
Yeah,
I've had
that's
luck with that.
okay.
And because it goes all through Newburyport, West Newbury and.
Yeah, maybe we could talk more about that
Sure.
later.
Sure.
New shelving. I've placed the order for 11 new shelves. So that's part one of the capital, the chunks being done. So that's exciting. They're gonna arrive in possibly March, but maybe sooner.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm hoping sooner, but I might have to like request a special invoice for them to invoice us sooner because of Rebecca's using ARPA funds. So
And they
those,
have to be used, right?
they have to be used, I think, by the end of January, but don't quote me. Officially, I mean, you can write. Darcy said this, but don't quote me. I know.
So Darcy, just to be clear, I didn't hear part of that. Just to be clear, ARPA funds are paying for those and they have to be distributed and finished by the end of January. If the merchandise
Yeah.
is due till March, then the company can invoice us early.
I'm hoping. They
Okay.
usually invoice upon shipping, but I'm hoping, I'm gonna talk to them and see if they can make an exception for us.
Right, because that would be a shame to
Yeah,
miss that. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
thank
So
you.
that's the plan. So those are the furniture updates that I have for you. The updates from these updates that I wrote. Any other questions about that? Okay. Wowberry. It's time to do Wowberry, and for anybody who's not familiar with it, you should definitely get familiar with it because it's a very fun feature that we have. Every week, you can get a newsletter with all of our new items listed and it just pulls from the catalog. And it actually, if you use the online catalog, you can actually click and request it right from there. So it has our new books, movies, et cetera, et cetera.
And you also in activity that the knitting group.
Yeah, I've added our activities. I've added information about the Friends of the Library because they have new features, and I
Right.
decided to kind of, experiment with them, and I still have a few more to play with. So it's been a great thing. So payment is $375. If anybody is
I
willing.
make a motion to pay $375 to Wildberry through the state aid funds, I'm sorry.
You have a second? Second. All those in favor? Let me get my checklist. Laurel?
Aye.
Lindsay? Jay? Dan? Nancy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Yes,
Lee? Caitlin?
Yes.
Bob, yes.
Thank you. If anybody's not signed up for it and you read books from us, you won't regret it if you sign up.
it's
It's a
really
good
good.
time.
I like it.
Yeah, I know you use it a lot, and we have a widget on our front page on our website, so if you want to just experiment with it, it scrolls through all of our new items
Password
from
for
the
this?
week. No. When you sign up for the email, it's right to your email. The Wi-Fi, it's finally upgraded. We have one for staff, one for the public. And they have been so much better and so much safer so far. And I am very thankful that that has happened. The new printer / copier is also up and running. So very exciting.
So was that why I wasn't automatically signed in here? That's what I was
Yes.
just doing, like, I am not signed in.
That's why, because it was a new,
Changed everything over, okay.
yes.
Yeah.
The new-
so also-
yeah. And I mean, if anybody had the password memorized, which I don't expect anybody to actually have it, it's the same password as it was before. But yes, much better Wi-Fi that you don't need actually two public ones to fill the whole building. It's better. And Steve actually mounted the little router things that look like spaceships over there. Which is, thank you to Steve again. He's been doing a lot for us. And coming up, I don't have much for coming up. I mean, really just, you know, our FinCom meeting is, I think, February 26th, whatever that Wednesday is. Let me pull up.
We want to add the deferred programs. The deferred ones.
Maybe. February 26th, FinCom, mark your calendar.
What does that
Okay.
mean, Darcy? What's FENCOM?
So FinCom is when I sit in front of the finance board and make the arguments for why they should hopefully support our budget. So, basically I will have submitted all of the numbers, all of the narrative to them by then, and kind of talk through any questions they have and any questions I have for them. Usually we also post it as a meeting because lots of members of the board like to show up and support, you know, and just kind of like be in the audience. And if there are any questions, they're here to answer questions too. But every town department has to go in front of the finance board, also known as FinCom, the finance committee, and state their case. So,
Before the budget gets, they kind of approve it and the selectmen approve it.
Yeah.
hopefully, And then it gets on the town warrant for the town to vote.
yeah,
The whole omnibus. budget.
yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Do we have the date and time?
Yep.
For FinCom
Yeah.
February 26th.
at 5 p.m.
5.
Yeah, does it 5 and
February 26th.
February 26th.
oh my gosh, imagine if it was on Christmas. That's next Wednesday. Come in for Christmas. This, you know, to be prepared for that. And then we'll have obviously the deferred items. I mean, we still have to talk about the budget too. So that's why we'll see what's after
Okay.
that.
Yep.
For January.
Yeah.
Trustee vacancies too.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That should definitely be on
Well,
there.
what did you say, Jan? I couldn't hear you.
I said for our next meeting, we should definitely discuss trustee openings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
So
for
taking
whoever's
out
rerunning.
papers and-
Mhm.
That stuff,
Yes,
right?
perfect.
Yeah, who's up and who's running and who isn't running.
Mhm.
I don't know if people need to make sure we got people running.
Yes. Attachments, all the attachments have been attached. I also sent the email newsletter in the email where I explained kind of like what was going on with the budget and why it looks different this year. So I've got the regular budget here. So to explain this further, I used to, I'm explaining this to people who have been on the board for fewer than 5 years, but look, I've used to and usually write the narrative in Microsoft Word and then send that in to the finance board. This year, all of the narratives and the goals and everything is being done in a budget book on ClearGov. So I kind of had to navigate that a little bit to figure out how to put in the appropriate narrative
And
and
I'm glad you told us to focus on 4 and 5 because
Yeah.
there's a lot of pages.
everything else. Yeah, everything else is kind of gobbledygook right now because it's officially right now before you submit, it's level funded when you look at the graphs. But that's not what the request actually is. So the graphs don't mean much yet. Not till you hit the submit button. So for the budget request, I started off with our new mission statement. I thought that would be a good thing to do because it's brand new. And I want that to make sure that the the parts of our strategic plan are sprinkled throughout this budget request because I think that's important. So I started off with our new mission statement. They usually ask for kind of a mission statement anyway. This year they kind of trimmed down requests, but I always include it anyway, but I thought starting off with it this year would be good. And then kind of justifying that based on what we've already been doing and what we want to do for the future. So one of the things we've been hearing from a lot of patrons and a lot of staff is that we need this focus on technology to move forward. So I have kind of crafted this potential position where someone's a library assistant / technology specialist. And I mean, it's crafted for Matt, I will say, because he's been the technology guy this whole time. He has a master's in library science. And he's been doing so much tech work already. I think that it's appropriate. It's also been requested by the public that we start focusing more on technology. We can pivot even a little bit into children's programming, like teaching them how to program or use 3D printers. Maybe we can get a 3D printer and teach them how to, work with things like that.
I would like to see that.
That would be great, right?
An adult toy.
Yeah.
I know
Right.
someone in town who is a huge 3D printer, FYI.
Ooh.
She has like
do know a
5
lot
or
of people.
6 plus a mini that she travels with and shows people. So if you actually
Oh,
do
yeah.
want to do that, get in touch.
Oh,
Sign them up.
Right.
Yes, no, that's exciting. That's good to know. I know I kind of played with a 3D printer pen once, and I thought that was really fun. So that's kind of the priority because to focus on. I also did throw in that if possible, throwing in a few extra hours for the pages just for coverage would be great. However, between the two, the priority is the technology specialist position.
Is he receptive to going full-time?
Yes,
Oh, good.
yes. I even talked to him today. I was like, this is what it would be. And this is what it would entail. I would craft a job description that would encompass both parts of the job. However, 1 week might not be like a split 18 and a half. One is library assistant, one is technology. It might be focused one more or the other each week. But considering there's been so much demand for tech appointments, and he's even starting next month to do walk-in appointments here twice a month, because not walk-in appointments, but walk-ins, like kind of like drop-in crafts, but drop-in tech help. Because the demand is so high. So
Darcy, this isn't creating an additional position, it's sort of redefining an existing position?
Yeah, kind
In a
of.
way, okay.
Expanding it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
expanding.
Yeah.
Expanding is a good word. Yeah.
Okay.
And the hours, we did lose a page,
Yes.
Oh, we were the
We lost an assistant.
an assistant, sorry. not page.
So, I mean, and the good thing is that I have run this by the town administrator and she's very receptive to this. She was actually very excited. And says,
And made some very good suggestions on to
yes,
promote this to everybody.
yes. So, the trade-off probably would be the page hours. However, focusing on what the public and the community have requested is really the priority here, as it should be. So, that's kind of the summary of what I've written in the top narrative.
Would the additional 18 hours, right? Would that enable you to open any longer? Any more hours?
It might.
Was our previous.
I think it could. I think it's possible. I need to kind of finagle some things because part of it is that I like that he works evenings because some people will need those evening hours to make appointments. However, I know those extra hours were morning hours, but we might be able to do more evenings. For example, we might be able to throw in an extra evening or two, or expand Tuesday and Thursday a little bit more. So, there are lots of possibilities to rework it if we can do that.
Yeah, because to me, that would be a selling point as well.
I think so too. I think, if you'd like me to write it into the narrative, I could.
Well, I don't know how the board feels, but it seems to me with 18. Shuffling, not necessarily having that person with the, but
Right.
you're gonna have more play, you're gonna have more
Yeah,
staff to be able to maybe open one. Was the goal before?
it was the 2 mornings.
I'd like to even do one.
One of the mornings. Yeah, I do agree with that for sure.
I think it's more to even out the hours too.
Mm-hmm.
So why, Kathy?
I think we're trying to even out the hours, make it more, instead of being all over the place, to have more stable hours day by day.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear what Jan said at the beginning, but I'm inferring, Jan, did you say something about like opening up those days where it doesn't open till 1, like using some of those hours? there.
Yeah, originally, that was one of our goals. I forget,
Mhm.
was it one
Right,
budget ago or
right.
2 budgets ago? We were hoping to
Yeah.
expand hours so that we would be able to open either Monday or Wednesday morning, I believe, or
Yeah.
both. And, it might only be feasible to do one of them, but I think it would open it up to better service to the public if we
Yeah.
could. If we got this position, and it could also mean that we could open.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Oh,
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking you were saying, but I wanted to check.
no, fine.
That is a great thing, and I didn't even think of that part. That would benefit, the whole thing just benefits the public, doesn't it?
Right. And kind of fills in our goals from years past.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So maybe we could say with this change, it was to consider.
I couldn't hear you, Bob. Could you speak up?
With,
Oh, yeah.
with this change, this would allow us to consider additional hours without specifying which way we're going.
Right.
But you probably will get asked by the finance committee to be more specific. I think to be prepared for the meeting, we'd have to do some math and figure out exactly how that,
Mhm.
like a mock schedule
Yeah,
with the staff that you have, plus those hours and how it would actually play out
yeah,
in real life, because the first question somebody's gonna say is, well, how many hours are you thinking?
yeah,
Or what day, or, and not, it'd be good to have an answer for that.
yeah.
And we've always had requests for additional evening hours.
Yes.
And we'll have to see maybe one evening, one morning, if the
Right.
schedule
Right.
works that way.
I think it would definitely work, especially if you had the extra page hours that you're asking for.
Yeah,
But even without that, I would think you'd be able to do one.
I think one of them would be, especially if the page hours are the trade-off, which
Right.
Rebecca's pretty sure that would be the trade-off.
Yeah.
Even though I would love to have it all, wouldn't we all?
But the priority is. to have-
Oh, yeah, we have our priority for sure because it's what's been requested. Another part that I don't have in this narrative that I will be including in the narrative is testimonials from people who have done tech help.
Hmm,
So people who have received tech
That's a
help
great
from that.
idea.
So he's given me some names. I know a few others who have done it. And I will be including them somewhere in this clear doc thing. If I can help figure out where to put it and make sure that it's in the right place.
You know, the budget impact, is that in the graphs?
Yes, Rebecca and I did the math, but didn't send me the. So
I didn't realize Matt had his MLS.
he does,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that.
So my hope is to increase to at least 2450. I know that even seems low, but it's a lot higher than he has right now. And 37 hours. And if everybody else is getting their 2% COLA, for instance, it's not a huge impact. I think it's doable. Rebecca said it was pretty doable. It went from like 17,000 per year to maybe 48. Let me pull up the or 47. Yeah, he makes like maybe 18,000 per year, but it would go up to 47 for him specifically. So if that's the only thing that's really making a huge difference, which isn't that huge because it's justifiable, then I mean, all we can do is really make sure we really make our case.
But
And
why
I-
else would have to put up your book budget too, though, right?
No, mainly because, well, we'll up our book budget. And I was thinking of finagling this a little bit, not finagling, but I was hoping to use a little bit of state aid and trust money for some materials in that fiscal year. Just
that's
so
the
that we don't
repay
have to
issue?
up our
Sorry.
expenses. Sorry?
I'm sorry, I spoke before I heard you speaking. I'm sorry. We definitely have the state aid money and the trust fund money, and it should be
Yeah.
used for the good of the library. And I think it's a great plan, a great step forward.
Yeah, so what I wrote below is that, you know, I want to work with them to kind of decrease our expenses a little bit so that we don't, you know, so we're not making too huge an impact in different places. So we can make up the difference. I think we'll be able to make up the difference because it won't be too much of a jump. I would obviously do that math once I have actual numbers, but I started us at level funding materials because we got the cut this past year. So if we stay at where we are and our 2% COLAs, we would be level funded with that anyway. If we add a little bit extra, then I think contributing with state aid and trust funds a little bit would be beneficial, especially if there are things that are, you know, tech things that the community is requesting. Things that they could check out that are technology, for instance, part of our library of things. So that's kind of my idea. So technically, yes, it would increase our materials requirement, but we can kind of play with the sources of that income.
But wouldn't it be like $6,000? That you would have to put in materials.
What was the question?
If it would be about 6,000. Yeah, but if we take it from a few different sources, it wouldn't be too much of an impact.
No,
So
I-
like if we
I
take some from
understand that, but
donations, from state aid, some from trust fund.
I understand that, however, then the following year, it will be even more. And you will have depleted some of those resources by using that much money this year.
Mm.
So I'm just putting out a little.
Yeah, I mean, I
Don't wanna
can,
cut yourself too short and then find out. You know,
So-
what the COLA is the following year, and if you could keep all the staff, then it might be $7,000, and then you gotta figure out how to scramble for it.
yeah. I mean, let's see. I
would
could
just feel
put,
comfortable seeing those numbers.
uh-huh. It's a good point. I mean, like, the thing is, I hadn't changed it because we're not guaranteed this position at this point. That's why. I could put the decrease of 1784 into materials. And then we would at least have that little kick there.
So I'm a little unclear. We're doing this so that we'll have a little wiggle room in the budget salaries? Or no?
So basically, if we do get this full-time position, it increases our overall budget
Mhm.
that's required. Which means that 19% of that overall budget has to be spent on materials. However, we're allowed to spend it from other resources. But Jan is saying the next year, we'll have to figure that out within the budget. However, if the next year we don't ask for anything too wild, that could be, yeah, that will fund everything and increase the materials. I mean, the dues you know, the dues will be what the dues are, but the dues even got a cut this year, so.
Right.
Um,
And another thing Rebecca had said, and I don't know how this will be done, she had suggested that you look at other libraries to see, because it's the position, not.
it is, and
within
I have,
other Libraries, not position here in the library as opposed to position over a town hall or the police station, you know, for its library to library.
yeah.
Thing, like, that's how they're doing it now.
I have, and I mean, this is kind of on the lower side of that, cause we're also a small town. That's the thing, like, we would be kind of ahead of the curve if we do this. For small towns.
And I think too, we have to remember, I can't remember the last time town hall backed advancement at the library. It's always been the first place we can cut is the library. We can close the library. If they ask too much, we can it's this. So we really, if we can work with town hall now, I don't think we have to have too much fear of what goes on. The budget will always be the budget, but I think we need to work very closely with town administrator and the finance committee. They listen to her, they learn from her, and I think her advice is paramount.
I mean, I'm happy to sit down with her again and just say, there is some question about the materials level
Yeah.
because of this possible increase in salary. However, everything else that I've finagled could stay the same. So I can try to meet with her, meet with Rebecca and see what she has to say about that. But, and I don't want to put words in her mouth at all, but I do think that she would kind of see the point of kind of making the materials increase next year. I mean, we increased it by 10,000 for this year, and we managed to do that even with a $3,000 cut.
Right.
So I don't think it would be as high for fiscal year 27.
Are there a lot of I know this is kind of going off on a tributary, but are there a lot of grants we can apply for that would help us in a lot of ways? What can we do? What LSTA grants are available?
I mean, there are definitely ones from programming, and there are actually technology ones as well where it would even contribute to what Matt would be doing.
That would be
Um,
great. What about we
yeah.
max out every grant we can?
Yes, I'm also starting to look into mass humanities and a whole bunch of different ones. And I do also know that the cultural council one that we had applied for got approved. So
This year?
yeah.
And what did we apply for?
Oh, it's a children's program for playful engineers.
Okay.
The official letters aren't out yet, but I just watched the meeting. So
How
I
much
do
is that
know
for?
that we've utilized that. And that'll be during February break too.
Excellent. What was the amount?
About $600, I think.
Excellent.
That's what it is.
If we can go to technology grants, children's programming grants,
Mhm.
community grants, it would be
Mhm.
wonderful to do another community reads program. There's a lot out there, and if we really go forward for grants, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Are grants something that's just on Darcy, or are the trustees able to help search for, apply for, that kind of thing?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of it is probably me or any staff member who wants to apply for that, because I know that for the LSTA grant that just finished, Bergen she did pretty much everything. I did a tiny bit of back end research trying to find different code numbers and things like that. However, it's dependent on what the grant is, I think.
Well,
Uh,
I did, but at one point when we had a director take another job, it was a big step up. She worked for the MBLC, but I was able to step in as a trustee and be the program manager, project manager for that, working with staff. So in my opinion, yes, trustees can have a big input in grant writing. And if not writing, it's managing and time effectiveness and reporting, because there's a very fine timeline of the reporting necessary to to grants.
yeah,
The trustees can be very effective in that way if they're willing to step out and do it.
And anybody, even not a trustee, can look for them.
Sure, sure.
and I think, pointing out this fact to FinCom is good, so that,
I know what, maybe going into FinCom, we should have a list of what we're gonna go
Yeah.
for grants. This is what we're gonna do for youth services, this is what we're gonna do for adult services, this is what we're gonna do for community services. I think it's a good idea to have that, to have a plan laid out.
My one concern about that is, would the FinCom say, oh, well, then we don't need to give you any more money because you're looking for grants?
Well, if we don't know if we'll get them. I mean, you
but
apply for them,
that's
you don't always
yeah,
get
but
them.
we have an argument for that too, which is the municipal appropriation requirement.
Right,
So, yeah,
right,
if we don't get that, then we won't be certified.
Right.
So.
Right.
we-
right. I don't think it ever, I don't think it's ever, it
Totally.
ever hurts to show that your board is working hard to make everything work, to make the budget work, to show that the library is stepping forward in communication with the FinCom and absolutely with the town administrator, because she's been a great support for this library.
So your point though was worrying about certification because of materials,
Yeah,
or,
this is where I would just feel more comfortable.
yeah,
I'm totally for going full-time employee.
Yep.
Totally for that. What I'm nervous about is I don't see like a projection in front of me saying, okay, we're gonna be short blank amount of dollars for our materials budget.
mhm,
Here are our other sources. And amortizing that out over a number of years, like say, I know you had to go into those sources last time to make up the materials. Okay, so say we figure out we're gonna be short like $7,000 or whatever.
mhm.
Okay, how are we gonna do that? How are we gonna do that the next year, and how are we gonna do that the next year? Because we'll be short on materials budget every year if we cut it that much. So I just wanna be really cautious about doing that.
Yeah, so we do have some backups. We have the flexibility as well.
Right,
Which is,
Right.
what we,
Can you do that this year though?
yes,
Yeah, so can you do
And
that
it-
every year?
That's my question.
I don't know. I will check.
That's another thing. It just brings fear into my heart. Brings back all the budgets that I've done. Just
Yeah,
Making sure,
yeah.
got belt and suspenders here with it, because I mean, we're so vulnerable when it comes to certification if we don't,
that's true.
have that. That's my only point.
Yeah,
To make sure that we really feel confident about
yeah,
what number we ask for the materials.
yeah. I can try to put a projection together if
Okay.
that makes you feel better. And then we'll have something kind of in a spreadsheet for us to keep track of,
And if
including
they-
what we'll ask for next year.
Do
And
they allow you, just as a point of, understanding? Got an LSTA grant and you bought materials out of that.
it doesn't count
Yeah, I
as,
didn't think.
yeah.
Did. So we have to be careful with that too. The LSTA grants are great, wonderful, but also
Yeah.
there's, they don't always work. with our materials.
Yeah, I don't think it counts. I think it
It's
is,
not municipally funded.
yeah, I mean, state aid and donations and trust funds, but not LSTA, I don't think.
I don't think it does either. I just didn't know if it
State aid
changed.
does count,
Yes,
okay, interest funds.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
All right, yeah.
I mean, we do put the warrants through the same way for LSTA, but I don't think that,
Doesn't count for that, no.
um. So. So right now, this is what I have for the expenses. There was a decrease of 1784. With all of the justification below. I can say 17, if we need to, I can say 1784 was put into materials in preparation for, but I will meet with Rebecca too. I'm just making a note.
Whatever we do, we can't lose state aid, so.
Right. And I know Jan is worried. I'm not, and I totally see your point. I'm not too worried about that. But I know we have had that, some of us have faced that fear before.
Some of us have lived that, that fear.
Have lived that fear. I know, I was here.
I know.
Jan helped a lot and it was a
I couldn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
Jan, the library that Jan worked for at the time, helped us out.
yes, yes, both payroll and Hamilton Wenham are saving graces.
Yeah.
But you know, I did make a note that I want to collaborate with the finance and select boards to, you know, to work with them and find
Yeah.
money where we can. And I mean, I could say we just level fund the entire expense and put that 1784 toward materials, and it's still a level fund. It's not an increase.
Right. Talk
So
to
I could do
Rebecca.
that. I could automatically just do that, and that would be something toward materials.
So if you talk to Rebecca, she'll give you good advice.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Ellen too, but she didn't show up at that meeting.
She wasn't there. No, I think auditors were. Or I saw people in the little office. Yeah. People in the little meeting room.
And she may have some suggestions and
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, I do know that Rebecca noted that this was a creative way to get going on
appreciated that
this.
we were willing to, I don't say give something up, but give and take. We want
Yeah.
This, but you know what, we don't want the world, we're asking for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if we level fund expenses, it's still level funding expenses,
Right,
which is not,
and she,
I think some town departments would still not do that.
right,
So,
they want it all.
right.
She seemed to really appreciate that this budget request was willing, seemed to be more willing to work.
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. And you know, there's a lot to be said for, you know, pointing out that this is stuff that was requested in the survey and that people come in and they ask, like, please, can you have this full-time position? Because I really would like this help right now. And, you know, some of us can do this help, but you know, sometimes we are pulled away and not, some of us will do it, but still, like, I know how to do it, but sometimes I get very like confused at how to like respond or explain, or, you know, he's very calm with it, which is needed.
The one thing we can't pay out of trust funds or state aid or donations are salaries.
Yeah,
So we have to be,
and that will point out if they ask.
right, yeah. There's many other things that we can.
Yep. So, and then we can talk about the goals. You know, I wanted to highlight one that, you know, of course, focuses on the schools and literacy, you know, getting together with the schools. We're going to start making more connections. And that is not just for fiscal year 26. We're obviously going to start calendar year 25. But, and, you know, I would say start right now, but next week is Christmas. Slash Hanukkah. And then I also wanted to focus on obviously throwing in a technology one about hardware and, you know, being able to offer more walk-ins and appointments. And part of the job would be having Matt research what new things are out there and what we need to do to get them. And that's part of the grant process too. And
Right.
so I think between the two, they're like, you know, it's two goals, but they're two very involved goals. So, and they do cover their request that they focus on community need, which is really what they ask in the budget packet.
This is. The library, which is every age group, you know,
Right.
and it's our meeting place, it's for the
It's a
town
meeting
pretty
area.
much.
Yeah.
So there could be someplace where, you know, if you can get this position from that. Said, you can work with the children, you can work with adults, you can work with people like me that don't know.
I was saying, you know, he could like say, if you have a laptop, bring in your laptop and we
Right.
will run through how to do this social media thing that all of your kids are on that you want to communicate with them on, for example, or how to do Microsoft Word or how to do whatever.
And look, he's worked with other departments, he's worked with the COA,
Yeah.
and he's done that, so. You know, it's
Yeah, he does have those connections now as well.
Well, and I think it's a very good idea for him to collect those testimonials for, you know.
I'll
folks
be
that he
collecting them.
self-
Yes,
Moving
absolutely.
forward, every time he does.
Yeah.
Ask them to fill out a little something.
Yeah.
so
Oh,
that
moving
they-
forward. Yeah.
So you can present that to the town.
Yes.
as a justification.
And we need to focus on moving forward.
Yep. I agree. Moving forward, collecting them. I'll talk to him tomorrow about doing that.
Yeah, just add a form, you know.
Yeah.
A blank or something where.
Yeah, because he does
Satisfied?
collect
Yeah.
stats and the stats are really good.
Yeah.
But having the written narrative is it's moving.
Yeah, and I think too, with the extra hours would be great, with helping the kids to really understand how to use the card.
Yes, that's part of it too. Yes.
You know, when I was. in
Jan, could you speak up? I can't hear you here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Sure.
just saying, with added hours for, you know, a technology person. It would be
Yes.
great if they could spend some extra time in the children's room. Helping the kids understand more how to find their favorite series in the catalog, as a request, all that stuff, because a lot of them are just clueless about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they may know how to type in the book title, but to actually drill down to see that it's at another library. Or to see
Yeah.
which format.
Right.
Is
all
it
that
on
stuff.
CD? Is it large print? Is it, you know, is
all
it a
that
Wonder
stuff,
Book?
right.
For
Or-
example, yeah.
Or they're stuck on the electronic format, which they're not gonna be able to get.
Exactly. So, sometimes, yeah, our
think
catalog
that
can
would
be a
be-
little,
Really,
Mhm.
helpful too.
yeah.
Be a big-
Darcy, does Matt keep track of like what the focus of his work with the different people in the community is, so you can see.
He does, yeah. He,
And so
he
you have an
does next
idea of,
to
like, how
the,
many meetings are about X, Y, or Z.
yeah. When he has a meeting, he writes down into the subject of that.
Oh, that's great. Because then that
And
will
at
help
some
him
point-
know, like, if you're going to hold a session, like, how many people am I reaching out to about Excel? Like, now I should hold an Excel, Okay.
And at some
Yeah.
point, we can invite him into a trustee meeting and explain what he does and how it works and how.
Be like, let's do an appointment right now. Yeah.
That would be key.
Mhm.
People how to use Wildberry and how to use the stuff that we're paying a lot of money for.
Yep.
You know, as well as their own personal devices, but.
Exactly.
These are all things available to you 24/7.
I know. I think we could open up a whole world.
Yep.
I think we could open up the whole world with a more 18 and a half more hours. I know there's a few things to edit in and change, but is there a way to put on the things that you do agree upon and just trust me to change things and then send you hopefully an outlook within the next 2 weeks? If that's something that works.
Well, you need this in by December 31st.
Yes.
And it's not it may have to change anyway. Once
Mhm.
you see them come.
Yep,
So it's a work in progress.
it is. I mean, I have to write in narrative still. I have to, he just gave me a list of names and I know a few others as well. So I have to actually get in touch with them tomorrow and be like, please ASAP.
Right. But I mean, all the number facts and all of this, and if you change that. How did you say you're gonna do that, the 17?
Oh, put it into materials and that kicks that up a little bit in preparation for this possible change. Cause I mean, I don't think the page thing
And
will
then
happen
that
as
could
much as
change
that
what
would
you
be
say here,
good. Yeah,
You know, and,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
So
I think so.
I think.
But I
we could
feel
vote
positive about it.
on it as it stands now with a trust. I would say. Um. As it stands now, you're going to add the testimonials in there,
Mhm. Mhm.
tweak a little word.
Tweak some wording.
Tweak some wording.
Yeah.
With
and then-
adjustments as Darcy sees
Thank
fit.
you. Thank you.
Adjustments as needed as I see fit, yes.
And then, you know,
You got that?
if you send that out to us and we see anything glaringly, whoa, Dorothy, no, you know. then we take another vote.
I threw in 3,000 extra dollars just for snacks for the staff, you know.
I know.
They're all for me.
I mean, I made the motion. Oh, what did I say?
You want me to read what I have?
Thank you, Nancy.
Laurel motions to accept the draft budget report with adjustments as suggested by Darcy. Darcy will send out an amended report
Yeah,
within 2 weeks.
yeah,
Yes.
I second it.
yeah. 'cause
All
2
those in
weeks is-
favor? Laurel,
Yeah.
Jay,
Yes.
Jan, Nancy,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Lee, Caitlin,
Yes.
Bob, yes.
Okay, thank you. We can do this and then
Who seconded that?
No.
I don't think there was a second.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, there was?
Okay.
Kathy seconded it.
there you go. I feel pretty positive about this, especially because Rebecca is championing this. She's very on board. She's excited about this type of position, so.
Thank you, Darcy. That was great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna do the treasurer's report.
I've been to the Bartholomew. I mean, pretty much what we get is, you know, every quarter we get the big everything. You just get what I sent you, there's no news,
That's the quarterly report, what you sent. It's the big,
No.
No?
really what we
No.
put until December 31st when we close this fourth quarter, we'll get it, like January, I should have it for our meeting, usually.
You'll have the year-end report in January. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and yeah, the annual report too, so, yeah, no. Yes, it was changed, we put the money in. To pay for the furniture, but, yeah,
so the report we get in December will show, remember we have that consolidated
Yes.
report?
yes, we will show every, trust fund, all of that, what it has, we only get that 4 times a year.
Okay, that's the very helpful one.
Yes, but we don't get it every month,
Okay.
what I sent you, that's what we get monthly, and it's like.
That's too much stuff to look at.
And it's like, I don't even understand half of it, you know, it's graphs and all, doesn't mean.
Yeah.
I like to see, what do we have in each trust fund account, that kind of thing, so we
And that will
will.
show in and outs. which
Right, and
is
the one,
okay.
if I presented that now, it doesn't show any of that exchange that we did,
Yeah.
because we did that in the beginning of November. And the last one was, end of. Till the end of September. And so, yeah, this will be in the end of December report, you'll see that money going in and out. But we know that we did it. And I think it
I'd like
was
to
great
thank you,
that,
Laurel, for all the work you did on this. That was major.
oh, no, well, Kathy, you did.
You both
I
did
know.
amazing work.
Getting
You
it
both
all
did.
organized was unbelievable, but,
I'd like to thank Nancy for her, I didn't thank her yet, but for her notes to Vanguard, the people that helped so much, that helped me so much. And it was great. It was very much appreciated.
We managed to figure out is our balance went up about what, $7,000? Balance went up $7,000, I think, from its previous
yes,
court ending to the current one
but that
for that
is-
report.
Yes, so that actually did show, but it didn't show how it went.
Right.
That was that money that we put in, but we also took out the same, so we put in like 23,000, but then we spent. Well, more than 23. Off the top of my head, but
Well, it's
anyway.
24 from Vanguard, and it was the
Yeah.
money
We'll
from
see it in December.
citizens.
You'll see in December the exact how it happened, yeah. And I think it's great that it's all going through the one place, in town.
Right.
Nice
We'll
and
have
clean.
all the reports,
Mhm.
it just makes so much more sense.
That'll go into the donation account?
No, no.
No,
Yes.
it's a trust fund.
Into the trust account.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a trust fund account in the accounting system that I can run the bills through.
Okay, it'll show up on the report.
It'll show up if I run a report for
Yeah,
that
it's a
account.
separate report, yeah,
Yeah.
so. Okay.
Go on to the minutes of last meeting. Seemed like an age ago.
Oh, and thank you for doing them, Caitlin.
Yes, thank you, Caitlin.
Thank
That was
you,
Great.
Caitlin, very
You're,
good.
you're welcome. That was a long meeting.
And you did a great job of it.
Thank you so much.
Her second
No,
one, she's done it
Oh,
before.
Yeah, because she did a great job. so.
I have
That's what happens when you do a good job.
I have 3 very minor things. We say the checking account was closed, which is fine, and we transferred about 26,000. Do we have an actual figure?
26,000 from what?
That we transferred it into
Back to Bartholomew.
Oh, yes.
exact figure. I would
We're
have
gonna
to-
get it in January.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that, we don't need to have that in our minutes.
No.
I mean, we could.
okay. I just thought if we knew, we
If we
could throw it in there.
Was it said at the meeting? There, it's just a repetition of what was said at the meeting. If
Right.
about 26 was
Yeah.
said at the meeting.
Right. The only thing that has to be exact are things to be voted on
Mhm.
and the warrant.
The
Warrants have
warrants,
to be
yeah.
put in each time. But I mean, I'm not.
Okay,
If I can get through this.
that's, the minutes lead me to question, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're adding town treasurer Michelle Deacon as a signature on the account may be needed. Do we know that yet?
Beegan, Beegan, Michelle Beegan. She's the town treasurer.
Yeah, I think there was an edited version that came out because Laurel caught that. But
Okay.
Bartholomew people were going to get back to us about that. They were worried that
Yeah.
we were going to need her signature now that everything was going to come through the town. So I think that's up to them to figure out.
Right.
Okay. Okay, the last thing, seeing that this is going to be published, we should say next meeting is December 17th.
Oh, my
What?
goodness.
Yeah,
On
today,
the
yeah,
minutes
that's
that
just the
we-
minutes from last week.
Oh, I
We said-
see.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, but
Oh, yeah, oh, we updated the meeting.
Okay, oh.
So if someone
right.
goes online to see,
amended,
oh, I
it's
don't see
amended.
any meeting for December 11th.
well, here we are.
Okay. Do you need me to do that and then send everybody that updated version or?
Well, if it's gonna be part of what we sent to town, right?
Wouldn't be in the minutes
Minutes,
because
the official,
that wasn't decided at the last meeting, that was decided.
It
Since
was
the
an
last,
addendum, right?
Right.
no, it's not even an addendum. The change in the date was done last week, it wasn't done in our last
Right.
meeting, so it shouldn't be in the minutes.
But the
Okay.
minutes.
We didn't have a quorum last meeting.
Well, we didn't have a meeting.
Yeah, last
So-
week.
So at the beginning of this minute, like this month, do you say something like the meeting was changed because there wasn't a quorum?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yes, so Nancy
Mhm.
would be doing that. The beginning of the meeting change.
Mhm.
Right.
Forum on
Mhm.
December 11th, meeting was changed to December 17th
Yeah, but
as
with-
per
right.
agenda.
Yeah, but in this amendment, not the last
Right.
minute, yeah.
And Caitlin's report as amended, just like spelling errors, that kind of thing, needs to be sent to the town clerk.
Yeah, but I can do
You're gonna
that. Yeah, I'll do
Did
that.
you have, did you change those things? Did you get her amended one?
I responded back to everybody with those couple spelling errors.
Then I
Okay.
have it.
Okay,
Then I
and
have
you'll,
it.
and you'll take care of that then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll
Oh, yeah,
submit
okay,
that. Yeah.
thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you,
Can't
Nancy.
see it, but I'm
Sorry, I'm
smiling.
still learning these people's names, so I'm just writing furiously as we talk.
All right,
You all set a minutes?
and can I know we're getting, but we touched on it before about next month's meeting, talking about who, renewals and all of that. Just to let you know, Nancy, Jay, and Kathy are up for rerunning or whatever, or not running, whatever. I just finally
The
found.
terms are up.
The terms
Terms
are
are
up.
up.
Terms are up.
Okay. I'm having trouble with English today.
I felt that way all week, honestly.
All right.
Any other trustees' comments? And I don't see anyone from the public online, so that rules out public
Public.
comments. I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:08 PM.
Second,
I second.
who's second?
I think it's Kathy.
All those in
We're all
favor?
gonna stay.
Laurel,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Jan, Nancy,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Lee, Caitlin,
Yes.
Bob, yes.
Laurel. Would I in this stuff?
Or